some region thereof. It is an environment that encompasses the interaction of all living species. The concept of the natural environment can be distinguished by components. Complete ecological units that functions as natural system without massive civilized human intervention, including all vegetation, microorganisms, soil, rocks, atmosphere, and natural phenomena that occurs within their boundaries, universal natural resources and physical phenomena that lacks clear-cut boundaries such as air, water, and climate, as well as energy, radiation, electric charge, and magnetism, not originating from civilized human activity. The natural environment is contrasted with the built environment, which comprises the areas and components that are strongly influenced by humans belonging to a civilized, that is, hierarchically structured, agricultural, densely populated, complexity, systemized society. A geographical area is regarded as a natural environment. Environmental awareness. The United Nations Conference of the Human Environment, having met at Stockholm from 5 to 16 June 1972, having considered a need for a common outlook and for common principles to inspire and guide the people of the world in a preservation and enhancement of an human environment. It was the first summit its kind of the world. After that, a number of summits has taken place to raise awareness about the environment. That United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, UNCED, also known as Rio Summit, Rio Conference and Earth Summit, was a major United Nations conference held in Rio de Janeiro from 3 to 14 June 1992. Global warming. Global warming is the increase of Earth's average surface temperature due to effect of greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, emissions from burning fossil fuels, or from deforestation, which trap heat up would otherwise escape from Earth. This is a type of greenhouse effect. Glaciers are melting, sea levels are rising, cloud forests are drying, and wildlife is scrambling to keep pace. It's becoming clear that humans have caused most of the past centuries warming by releasing heat-trapping gases. As we power our modern lives, the level of greenhouse gases is continuously rising in the Earth's atmosphere. We call the result global warming, but it is causing a set of chance or changes to the Earth's climate or long-term weather patterns that varies from place to place as the Earth spins each day. The new heat term weather patterns that varies from place to place. Picking up moisture over the ocean, rising here, setting here, it's changing the rhythms of climate that all living things have come to rely upon. What will we do to slow this warming? How will we cope with the change we have already set into motion while we struggle to figure it out? The face of the earth as we know it, coasts, forests, farms, and snow-capped mountains hangs in the balance. Causes of global warming. Scientists have spent decades to know about the causes of global warming. They had looked at the natural cycle and events that are known as influence climate, but the pattern of natural cycle and events that are known as influenced climate, but the amount of the pattern of warming that being measured can be explained by these factors alone. The only way to explain the pattern is to include the effect of greenhouse gases emitted by humans. To bring all this pattern is to include the effect. The United Nations formed a group of scientists called the International Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC. The IPCC meets every few years to review the latest scientific findings and write a report summarizing all that is known about global warming. Each report represents a consensus or agreement among hundreds of leading scientists. One of the first things scientists learned is that there are several greenhouse gases responsible for warming, and humans emit them in a variety of ways. They most come from the combustion of fossil fuel in cars, factories, and electricity production. The gas responsible for the most warming is carbon dioxide, also called CO2. Other contributors include methane, released from landfills and agriculture, especially from the digestive systems of grazing animals, nitrous oxide from fertilizers, gases used for refrigeration and industrial processes, and the loss of forest that would otherwise store CO2. While many greenhouse gases occur naturally and are needed to create the greenhouse effect that keeps the earth warm enough to support life, human use of fossil fuels is the main source of excess greenhouse gases. By driving cars, using electricity from coal-fired power plants, or heating our homes with oil or natural gas, we release carbon dioxide and other heat-trapping gases into the atmosphere. Deforestation is another significant source of greenhouse gases because fewer trees means less carbon dioxide conversion to oxygen. During the 150 years of the industrial age, the atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide has increased by 31%. Over the same period, the level of atmospheric methane has risen by 151%, mostly from agricultural activities such as raising cattle and growing rice. Different greenhouse gases have very different heat trapping abilities. Some of them can even trap more heat than CO2. A molecule of methane produces more than 20 times the warming of a molecule of CO2. Nitrous oxide is 300 times more powerful than CO2. Other gases, such as chlorofluorocarbons, which have been banned in much of the world because they also degrade the ozone layer, have heat trapping potential thousands of times greater than CO2, but because their concentrations are much lower than CO2, none of these gases adds as much warmth to the atmosphere as CO2 does. Global warming solutions. Even if we stopped emitting greenhouse gases GHG today, the earth would be still warm by another degree Fahrenheit or so. But what we do from today forward makes a big difference depending on our choices. Scientists predict what the earth could eventually warm by as little as 2.5 degrees or as much as 10 degrees Fahrenheit by the end of this century. A commonly cited goal is to stabilize GHG concentrations around 450 550 parts per million, or about twice pre-industrial levels. This is the point at which many believe the most damaging impacts of climate change can be avoided. Current concentrations about 380 ppms, which means there isn't much time to lose. According to the IPCC, we have to reduce GHG emissions by 50% to 80 of what they are to track to be the next century to reach this level.